I've told you that if they agree on that seasonal, for instance, people in Kwara State, in Kogi State, they will call Yoruba, and the people will be part of the North Central. They'll be minority in that place. But when you look at, I have a lot of them who are working as colleagues here. There's no difference between them and the people from this part of the world. So why are you separating them? Why can't they be joined? That was what Awolowo suggested in the 50s. Okay, that those places should be carved out from the north and merge it with Western Nigeria, and I think that's the right thing to do. Because this undue rivalry based on ethnicity would reduce, okay, so that we can use that energy for other things that are positive. So I don't subscribe to the C zone that we have now as the basis for restructuring. You need to go and ask those groups, those minority groups in the various regions where they really want to belong. If the people in Ogun feel that they don't want to join the bigger Yoruba group, they feel better, then allow them. Let it be their choice. Not that it was created by the military or decreed by one person without asking the people. That's why plebiscite is very, very important in this process, and we should not be afraid, to do that. Ethiopia did it. Ethiopia is one of the, bright lights in Africa today. I said that the only place where you have the tube, underground train in Africa, is found in Ethiopia. But that country was ravaged by war for so many years until they took that bold decision. So we need to take bold decision in Nigeria.
Okay, interesting. I would like to take you to the ongoing insurgency in the Northeast. Okay. Not only in the North East and some part of Africa, West, and maybe part of the Lake Chad basin. I want to know your view. How best can we tackle the insurgency, which has been going on for years now?
Well, people with diverse culture, diverse way of life, diverse orientation together. Those people are basically, majority of them are Muslims who believe that the best form of government for them should be based on Sharia. Remember when we transited to this present fourth democratic dispensation, it became a big issue, a campaign issue in the north. In fact, there was the 12 northern states have to declare Sharia states, started from Zamfara, because it was very popular among the people. They felt that the corruption in the system that is not yielding to the needs of the people is as a result of the kind of system that we have in Nigeria. So if those people are if they so believe in a Sharia system as the best form of government for them, why not allow them to have it? Okay, why suppress them? How long can you suppress them? The point there is when you allow them and they practice and it doesn't work, you will still see a reform from within. Okay, the people in the Northeast are not the only Muslims in the world. We have Muslims in the Arab world, even in Asia, in Malaysia, in Indonesia, in Dubai. Those are Muslims. But you see that through education and civilization, you don't have these radical elements or the radical form of Islam, okay, in those places. So I think that the solution is not necessarily on using the military option. We have been using the military option. It has not worked because these things are fundamental. What is the motivation for these people? So their motivation for joining, in spite of all the number I have been killing, is that they believe strongly that they can achieve that, and when they achieve it, it will be, it will meet their yearning, their aspirations, and what have you. So people talk about winning the heart and mind. And it's not something we can achieve through the military option. So that is why it is important now that they are talking about restructuring, that we needed to restructure Nigeria. And if the people out there in the northeast and part of the northwest wants to, implement their Sharia, why not? Though there are some pockets of other ethnic groups who are not Muslim, but the part of forcing those other persons to become Muslim is what I don't support. There are some minority groups in that area, like the Chibok area, I think around Mubi and some other smaller towns who are not Muslims, okay? Mm-hmm. So you don't force such on them. Mm-hmm. There should be a way to accommodate them. Yeah, but we still have minorities in Syria, we have minorities. In Egypt, majority Muslim, but we still have minority Christian. But there must be a way of accommodating them, but that should not be imposed. So I think that the best solution is dialogue. This reforming the Nigerian state, which is what I advocated in my thesis, is very, very important. We cannot carry on like this. If we continue to carry on like this, we can only go down. Some persons say that we are bottomed out, but I don't think so. Nigeria have not bottomed out. That we needed to take some bold steps, okay, to change the nature and the character of the Nigerian state. By the time we do it, then we can move towards progress. Yes, we can't impose. I don't subscribe to imposing systems for people. So if the people in the Northeast, majority of them there believes that the best way for them, the best form of governance is to subscribe to what is written or the Sharia system, good for them, but not that they should impose it on the rest of the country. So we can allow them to have it.
Okay.
And that will bring about peace, because you need peace to develop.
Okay, let me bring you back to, the current political dispensation. The political parties, they are campaigning everywhere now, and the elections is just around the corner.
Yeah.
I would like to know, because we have, I think, over 90 political parties now.
Yes.
Do you think these political parties are strong enough to bring about development that we need in the country? Especially looking at it from the angle of ideology and their political philosophy.
Unfortunately, Nigerian political parties don't have ideology. Okay, ideology, well, is not driving them. The kind of ideology you talk about, when you talk about liberal ideology, social ideology, no, or welfarist ideology, there's no difference between APC and PDP. But though there are some smaller political parties that are driven by some kind of ideology, but unfortunately those smaller political parties lack the funding, okay, to be able to organize and come out in the open to be able to make impact. I conducted, if you go to my Facebook page yesterday in my class, and I conducted a straw poll where I was asking the students who to vote. In fact, I restricted the choice to Atiku, Buhari, and others. And well, I say, surprisingly, in that poll, others won. So others won. They called them for, they got 31 votes. Atiku got 22, and then Buhari got 3. So because I did that 4 years ago, when Buhari, Jonathan, and others were contesting, and Buhari clearly won that straw poll. So others just got 6. So I was wondering, if those others could get 31, it means that Nigerians prefer somebody other than Buhari and Atiku. Although unfortunately, those ones don't have the structure, they don't have the funding, okay, to be able to organize so that Nigerians can identify with them. So for now, there is no difference between the APC and PDP. So the only thing there is that the people who are organizing, and it could be corrected through legislation, which our National Assembly is not doing. I remember, I think it was during the era of Maurice Iwu, that there was a law that says that government needed to fund those political parties so that they can organize and present themselves as alternative. But you know, anything in Nigeria can be abused. A whole number of people were abusing it. So you see people, they say husband and wife create a party, and they just get that funding and pocket it. That was what made the National Assembly, you know, to abolish it. But the way it is now, and the poverty rate in Nigeria, it will be very, very difficult for these political parties to be in a position to organize themselves and challenge the major parties, which to me there is no difference between them. APC, I mean, look at the people who are major characters there in APC, they are in PDP, they keep jumping from one place to the other. And when you look at their program, there's no difference. Okay, what's the difference between the program being implemented in Ogun State here, controlled by the APC, and when Gbenga Daniel was the governor here too, was the PDP? There's not much difference. You know, what we are just engaging is building infrastructure. things like that. That should not be the thing that should be guiding political parties. But I think that with time, something is actually happening, on the background that will come up later, but not now. Probably with time, we'll begin to see political parties with ideas, with ideology, because that result of that straw poll, was very instructive to me. That majority of Nigerians, that's from my own analysis, prefer something fresh. But how can we be able to organize that something fresh? Some more calling it dead force. How can we organize it to be able to challenge these old dominant political parties in Nigeria? That is one of the challenge that those people have. Yeah.
There are people from the southeastern part of the country that has been agitating for, let's say, independence.
Okay.
They want the state of Biafra, and we will recall that that was one of the reasons that led to the civil war.
Yes.
Yes.
1960s.
In the 1960s. So, do you think this is a good development for Nigeria?
Well, that is, it depends on how you handle it. Okay, there will always be agitation. Okay, but how you handle it is what matters. In the US today, there are people who are agitating for the state of Texas to break away from America. There are people who are agitating at California. When they see what is happening in Middle America, and California, which is have a liberal orientation, there are some people there who want to break away from America. Go to Spain. I've been to Spain so many times, very developed. But when you go to the Catalans, they want to leave, and they have been agitating. The same thing with the Basque, okay, and so many other places. So the point there, it could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing, based on how you handle it. When you want to suppress, which is what we are doing in Nigeria, that is where they are getting it wrong. Please don't suppress those kind of ideas. There is a way you can handle it. You can use superior arguments if you feel that, yes, let's have a big country. Nigeria is the biggest country in Africa. Out of every 4 black men in the world, he said one is a Nigerian. Very good. But to what end? That is what you want to ask. Okay, but the point that if you want to sustain that, there could be a way to handle it, and that is through dialogue. Dialogue, that's the way, the best way. And if there are majority of the people out there insist that that's what they want, why not give it to them? I make reference to India. India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, they were together under the British colonial system. But at the time they were about to get independence, the Pakistanis, who are majority Muslims, felt that they will not have their say in a Hindu-dominated India, and they agitated, and Pakistan was created for them. Okay, look at what they have achieved today. Pakistan is a nuclear power, the same way with India. So there's that rivalry among them. Okay, if you even look at Malaysia, it's the same thing. The Malays felt that they needed a country where they will have dominance. Okay, so they have to, on their own, expel Singapore, which is dominated by the Chinese, and there's nothing there. There's no resource, natural resource. But the Chinese, the Singaporeans, were inspired to show that they can do something, and that was what brought about the development. And since Malaysia saw what was happening in Singapore, they too were challenged, and that was how you saw the so-called Southeast Asian miracle, migrating from third world to first world. So if that agitation is strong and majority of the people, they are asking for referendum, you can give them referendum, and let's just test it. Free and fair referendum. If the majority, some people are saying that most people from the Southeast, most Igbos, live outside of the Southeast. So if you want to organize something, it's something that have to be negotiated. You want to ask those who are asking for referendum, how are you going to do this referendum? Is it only those who are residents in the Southeast now, okay, that will vote, or are you going to extend it, the voting rights, to people who are outside? In Nigeria, and across the world. So I think the best way to handle it is through not through suppression, not using military option. It will not help, and it will not bring the solution. So many people died. How many millions? 3 million or so. Some people say 5 million. Okay, and then you have the group rising up, the mass up. So many have been killed. Even these indigenous people of Biafra, you still have so many that have been killed. Yet you are not succeeded in eradicating it. So the best way is to approach it using dialogue, superior argument. There are people who feel that, so many Igbos too, who feel that no, the best way is to have Nigeria. There are some people, elements, who feel that no, the best for us is to secede from Nigeria or self-determination. But that's something that can be thrown, and people would argue about it and talk about it and look at the best form of resolving it. So I'm advising the people in power to stop using suppression as a way of achieving objectives. It has not helped us in the past, it will not help us in the future.
We'll be speaking with Dr. Duruji Moses, a senior lecturer at the Department of Political Science, Covenant University in Nigeria. I hope you have enjoyed the program. Many thanks for joining us. Until I come your way again, I say bye-bye.